Well, hello there. My name is Dave Pila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of those making the comments do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its co-producers. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but absolutely no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of Larry Curley or Schmo is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the participants, and the discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a lot to say today. I'll just bring up my take a new attitude concept and turn it over to Bob. Bob?
You've got important things.
Well, I'm going to start with the voting situation.
Very important.
We are currently videoing on May the 1st, a Friday. We have 2 early voting days left, and I want to go over the hours and where they're located. They are on Saturday, which will be May the 2nd, and on Monday, which will be May the 4th. Now, voting is actually on Tuesday, May the 5th. It's the first Tuesday after the first Monday, and polls for the election day will open at 6 a.m. and close at 6 p.m. So if you didn't get to vote early on election day, you can vote between 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock at night. Now, there is a difference also in the way that you go about voting. If you vote on election day, you need to go to the precinct that you're registered to vote in. If you vote early, you can vote in any one of 4 locations, and let me go through those again. Number 1, Michigan City. You can vote at 8th and Wabash. And on Saturday, May the 2nd, you probably will see our show at about 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, so you'll still have time to do this. Saturday, May the 2nd, the polls will be open 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Where? On Saturday? Where at?
8th and Wabash. I'm coming to the others. 8th and Wabash in Michigan City. Then also in Michigan City on Monday, May the 4th, they will be open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 8 a.m. to noon, whichever way you want to look at it. 12 p.m. is noon. In LaPorte, they will be open at the LaPorte County Fairgrounds. Again, Saturday, May the 2nd, they will be open 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Then on Monday, May the 4th, they will be open 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or noon, whichever way you want to look at it. In Rolling Prairie, they will be open at Wills Township Community Center. One more time through that. Wills Township Community Center, which is located at 6951 East 350 North. Again, they will be open Saturday, May the 2nd, from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. They will be open on Monday, May the 4th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., i.e. noon. Last one of the 4, Wanata Town Hall, which is located at 104 North Main Street in Wanata. Saturday, May the 2nd, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and Monday, May the 4th, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or noon. You can live anywhere in the county and go into one of these and vote. On election day, you're going to need to go to the precinct that you are located in, but we have a couple of hints if you have a problem with that. First of all, whether you're voting early or whether you're voting on election day, you will need a government-issued ID with your photograph. The 2 big ones that most people will use will be a driver's license, obviously a valid one that you have that is not expired, or you can use a passport, which is also a government-issued ID. That's just a federal government-issued ID. That's valid, i.e. That the dates have not expired. On election day, you go to your normal voting place. For those of you that have voted in the various precincts before, generally you will be voting in the same precinct. If you have a problem and are not sure where you should go to vote, I'm going to give you a phone number you can call. This is the clerk's office, 219-326-6808, extension 2471. Let me go through that again. If you're having a problem on election day, knowing where to go, or even knowing if you're registered to vote, and you should have been registered, I believe, by May the 9th or by April 9th. Phone number to call: 219-326 6808, extension 2471. Again, when you go to vote, you're going to need to bring a valid identification, driver's license, which is government issued by the state, and a photograph on the driver's license itself. If you have done this, maybe you don't have a driver's license, but you went to the License Bureau and got an identification card. That will be good also. That has a photograph of you, and it has an expiration date.
I was just looking because there was this discussion about college IDs, and those are not acceptable.
I missed the first.
College IDs are not acceptable. The court ruled they are not acceptable.
Well, that, and there's another one that is acceptable. And if Dave wants to get his out, I left mine up on the thing over here. These are VA issued veterans that go through the VA. These are valid, but if you go in and use this, you're going to have to tell them that they have to go to a second tier of listing. It's not on the first tier. I tried this one when I went into early vote just to make sure, and they said, oh, it's not there. You can't use this. And I said, well, would you check again? And I pulled out my driver's license and voted. Then I helped my wife vote because she's got a little bit of a disability. And came back and they said, well, yeah, it's on this other secondary listing. So if you're going to try to use that, tell them to use that secondary listing. Any questions, even if the panel wants to ask me about something that I may have forgotten?
How do you know if you're in the right spot to vote? There's a real easy way. When you go to a polling center or any polling center, especially if you're early, you know you're in the right spot when you're driving up to it and there are signs lining the street.
Well, that's if you're at the right, if you're at a polling center.
At a polling place.
But if you may be at the wrong precinct. Now, if you're at the wrong precinct, again, if you're concerned about it, you can call the clerk's office or you can go into the precinct where you're at the polling center. Now, if there's a big line, you're probably going to have to...
Are we doing precinct voting?
Yeah.
I thought we had voting centers countywide.
We do for the 4 early voting situations.
We don't have...
Oh.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to go to the precinct. But if you go to the precinct and you're not in the right precinct, they can tell you which precinct to go to. But
I thought we were doing county voting centers countywide. It wasn't at every precinct. Was it only in the general?
No, it's only, well, it might be in the general, but I think it was, for this voting situation, it was only in the early voting group.
But if you go to a voting place and you see lines of signs all outside and cars parked, you're probably in the right spot.
More than likely. But if you're not, they will tell you. And assuming you're registered, they should then tell you where to go.
Yes, I'm checking to see if we have voting centers for this primary. Oh, we're going to ask AI. I don't know if I'd trust that, but we'll give it a shot. That's right. You said LaPorte Fairgrounds, early voting. I don't know. And I sorry I haven't kept up. I thought we were at voting centers for all elections now in LaPorte County.
We may be in the general election, but it's a lot harder in the primary election. So I think that's why you still have to go to the precinct that you're registered in.
Okay.
All right. Well, one more time on the clerk's phone number, if in fact you have some questions about it, 219-326-6808, extension 2471.
Interactive map on election day, polling place, locations, click here. These are election day primary polling places. I'm doing this on my phone. Oh, thanks LaPorte County. Not being facetious here. It hasn't loaded, but they have, and I'm very happy they've done this. So I'm right. These are all the locations you can vote. You can go to LaPorte County, the voting,
Well,
who runs the votes? The clerk of the courts?
Well, the voting centers are the ones that they had for early voting, but the polling places for the election are basically in the precincts.
Really? I think we still have, this is you can't hardly see it, this is a map of all the voting locations you have on
There's
election
a-
day.
Yeah, there's
It's election
approximately-
day.
I think there's approximately 32 of them.
Okay, so 32, you're right. Okay. There's a map. You go to LaPorte County and search up election day voting, and there's a map. It works on your phone. I just showed you. And you can click on there, and it tells you everything about it, and it's very nice. It's not like Beacon, LaPorte County we see. It's a different kind of map that most people use. It's very intuitive. It shows you all the places you go, and I think it'll even give you directions if you want. Pretty neat.
Or you can call them with the phone
Or you
number.
can call them. So it's very important. This is
Yeah,
Saturday when we
Well-
first show, and then Monday till noon.
yes.
And then Tuesday from when? 6 to 6?
6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock
Okay,
at
12 hours on Tuesday. Well, let's
Yeah.
people, let's get out there. It's sad that we have such low turnout. I would like people to be informed. Please research your candidates. You can look at many websites, many mailers. Alco TV does a very good job of putting on the debates.
Yeah.
Please be an informed voter. I know if you don't like some people that are in there, but please be careful who you might vote for, who's in there that you want to throw out.
Let me make one more announcement, which I didn't get to. This is a primary, and in the state of Indiana, you have to declare a party in a primary, not in a general election. So as a result of that, you will have to tell the clerk which party you want to vote in. The clerk will then hand to the judge, who will take it over to the voting machine, probably put in the precinct number, where you vote, and in addition to that, the party that you are voting for. So if you want to vote for somebody in a different party, you're not going to be able to do that. If you select a Republican ticket, they're not going to let you vote in the Democrat Party. On the other hand, if you select a Democrat ticket, they will not let you vote in the Republican Party. So as a result of that, you have to pick out the party you want to vote in. And the second thing, for those of you that are used to voting for the school board in primary elections, that has changed. The school board is not on the ballot. They will be on the ballot in the general election.
Also, when you go to vote, it used to be you would say which party you want, and they would hand somebody a ticket, a red or a blue or something, they'd put it in there. Now the person starts the machine up, pushes the button, you get to push the button,
Right.
which party you want. There's 2 buttons. You gotta push one of them before it'll show you a ballot. And then when you're done, there's a button that says confirm vote. And there's also a red button. So 2 things here. You can hit the confirm vote, and on the side, I understand, which I didn't do, is a printout
Right.
of who you voted for. But if you hit the red button, that printout spools through and you don't get to see it. If you just hit the confirm vote, you can see, suppose you can see on the printout, to verify who you voted for. You can double check. It's a paper trail. And then you hit the red confirm vote and it'll spool up and get ready for the next person.
Well, there's a second button. After you've done all this, it's going to have 2 red lights.
Yeah, that's
You punch that button and that casts your
That
ballot.
casts your vote. You have to push the red button to cast your ballot, but there's a confirm vote button that lets you see on paper
Yeah.
what you voted for. What you pushed is actually what you're voting for. That's
Well,
pretty neat.
that has 2 purposes. Tony's right about the first purpose. The second purpose is it acts as an audit in terms of who got
It's a
what.
great paper trail.
Yeah.
We all know what happens on our digital devices or get manipulated. There's lots of, I don't know, tinfoil hat discussions about somebody's in there manipulating votes or the votes were changed when I pushed the button and it didn't do it. I always worry, but there is a paper trail in LaPorte County. I'm very proud of them.
Yeah.
They have a paper trail. They could always go back. It's a piece of paper.
Are you working the polls this week?
No, my doctor won't let me.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, he's out.
Gotta
Too
let-
much stress?
No, not stress. Weight. I can't lift more than 10 pounds in those darn things.
Oh yeah, those machines.
Oh, those machines are heavy, folks.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Yeah. Doctor says no more. That's what happens when you hit 85.
Okay.
You guys are a long ways away.
I hope so.
Although
I'm 30 years away.
Dave is going to be
He's
cleaning out
3 years
ditches.
away.
Dave will be cleaning out ditches at 85.
I'll
Bring it on.
if we don't accomplish what I'm after, I'll be bitching that
From the grave.
from the grave. I'll tell you.
Bring it on. There you go.
Get a sewer system. Go ahead.
My issue is cause and effect, and when you recognize a cause, or a significant problem in a community, And if you see something, say something. Well, for the last 20 years, I've been saying something and it's been going on deaf ears. Finally, 2 weeks ago, I accomplished what I was going after on behalf of the Michigan City Sanitary District. They proceeded to clean out the Kinsel Ditch area from Highway 20 to Hitchcock Street somewhat, and they cleaned out the ditches. But they didn't take into account erosion. Michigan City Sanitary District, when erosion takes place and you clean out a ditch, the effluent in the ditch proceeds to roll down to the lower portion. Well, adjacent to this ditch between Earl Road and the CSX tracks, where the major part of the ditch that I wanted to clean out, is lined with gigantic trees. These trees are really big. When I say gigantic, I mean you could hardly put your arms around them. In fact, before I came to the show, I drove out, and I couldn't get halfway down this area because big trees have fallen down the roadway. The erosion that basically was created by enlarging certain areas of the ditch created erosion that then elevated the water level around the roots of these big trees. And guess what? These big trees fell into the ditch. The areas that I specified to be cleaned out, I did say they tried. They dug a hole on either side of the CSX tracks, and they increased the water flow, but that's also increased the effluent going down the stream, and the base of the stream now looks like a base of a stream. They've enhanced the water flow 25 or 30%. Well, if you enhance the water flow and you have a deluge of water coming down this creek, and that water level gets so high around the base of these big trees, and these big trees then around the roots get washed away, and the trees fall into the ditch. That's all that I'm saying is the sanitary district, if you started a project, please complete the project. I talked with Mr. Wallace with the sanitary district, and he assured me that these engineers from Lafayette, Indiana, they walked the entire area, and they saw very little wrong with this ditch that had to be cleaned out that I've been on for the last 20 years. But lo and behold, now these trees that are adjacent to the water flow going down the ditch because of enhanced water levels are now falling into the ditch, so you're compounding the problem. 2 weeks ago, if they started at one end and started removing the trees all the way down to and including up to Hitchcock Street, which doesn't have too many trees on it, we wouldn't have had this problem. Now the sanitary district has to go back with their manpower, if they have any now, and with their chainsaws, and now cut these ditches up. If you would have done it the right way the first time, I wouldn't be here complaining about it. But now, the sanitary district, who received $40,788,833 over the last 20 years to clean out ditches, they are now considering working with the Town of Long Beach. Town of Long Beach is responsible for ensuring sewer extension projects and funding through the actual cost of being passed directly to affected property owners on both sides of Lakeshore Drive. Primary funding source, the project is funded through low-interest loans from the state revolving fund, and it'll be paid back by through user fees. Well, the town's liability must pay the deficiency to Michigan City Sanitary District if the revenue collected from the customer capital charges was sufficient to meet the loan payment.
Wait a minute, read that again.
Town liability. The Town of Long Beach must pay any deficiencies to the Michigan City Sanitary District if the revenue collected from customers' capital charges is insufficient to meet loan payment.
So that sounds like the sanitary district is backing the bonds.
That is my interpretation.
Wait a minute, the part about insurance. Municipalities can buy insurance.
Yes.
In case they do not have the ability to make the payments.
But Michigan City wouldn't care if their revenue wasn't meeting the bonds if they weren't backing the bonds.
Right, and as
that would not be in the agreement.
Well,
if they have their own money.
Or if they have it insured and the insurance company pays it.
I always thought Michigan City had the bonding power and authority.
They probably
that they were going to do this for Long Beach and they were going to pay them back, which we discussed before the show. We don't know. We don't know that.
right. We don't know.
I don't think Long Beach has that bonding authority.
Well, we'll have to find out. But they also may be looking at, from an insurance company, buying the insurance if Long Beach cannot make the payments, that the insurance company would have to pick them up. A lot of municipalities do that. We'll have to see about that one also. But the key is that anytime you're not in the city and you're getting these kinds of bonding programs, your rates are 50% more
Yes.
than the city rates.
Yes.
So the
They pay
sanitary
50%
district
more.
will be making money.
And they don't get police, fire, they don't get those services from the city. A customer outside Michigan City, and Michigan City says we don't want to serve you outside Michigan City unless you annex or agree to annex. But they don't understand we get to charge them 50% more by law,
Yeah.
and we don't provide them police and fire. We don't provide them the money that supposedly we pay as a rate customer for services. I think it's a good deal. I don't understand why you would not take up on that deal. You're getting 50% more, and you're not providing the services. I think that's a win.
Well, technically, he's right, but we also have mutual agreements between the volunteer fire
Well, they
departments and the Michigan City Fire Department.
There's pay for that.
Yeah,
But it goes back. So
yeah.
Well,
they're going to do this project. Looks like.
Again, it's in the talking stage. To my knowledge, they have already been compensated by the town of Long Beach for the engineering.
Or it's in the works.
Yeah, something is in the works. So something, negotiations is in the works.
Wait a minute, I want to interrupt you again, but
Hey, I
That
want to
is-
make
that engineering is the-
just because we may have some people that misinterpret what we're saying here. When he's talking about a fluid, he is talking about stormwater, not sanitary water.
but now we're talking about sanitary.
Now,
Yeah.
for 90% of Michigan City. I don't know where the other 10% are, but we have storm sewers and sanitary sewers that
We have
have,
separated them.
every one of them? I
Most
thought
of them are separated.
I was
Correct.
under the impression that it was
No,
90%.
most are separated.
Most
So
are
you're saying
separated.
it's 98%.
It's real high, very high.
Okay,
Correct.
all
We
right.
have spent there, but okay, I want to go into your engineering here. They did those plans how many years ago?
Quite a while.
Quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So they did those plans, if I remember correctly, prior to the Perry administration. So we're about 5-6 years out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who's been in construction knows.
7 years, money doubles, almost.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. Everyone knows that when a set of plans are done, they have a very short lifespan, and things change.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, I bet you're going to spend at least 100, maybe 200,000 more to make sure these plans that have been sitting on the shelf for 5-7 years are actually buildable. Who knows what has changed anywhere on the route? And in fact, Michigan City put a huge lift station in over there by Blue Chip. That might have changed the whole game. And that's why this was such a big deal when Michigan City Sanitary District paid almost $400,000 for some plans, and town Long Beach says, by contract, we will pay you back as soon as we get to building our sewer. And then the council at that time, led by we know who, said we're not paying and we don't want to do this. And now all of a sudden, we're doing it. And I'm going to go back to your point. The cost of this, which was about 12, 13 million back in the day, is not 12 or 13 million dollars today. I would say we've seen our grocery bills go up 50%, almost 100%. I'd say this is a $20 million project. And now what's Long Beach going to say? Wait a minute. So not only have we, and even back in the day, 5-7 years ago, they were promised some state bonds at a very low interest rate, I think almost free. And they said it was a limited time deal. And the council voted against that back then. And they stopped the whole project, which is now we're back at square one, I think. Well, not square one. Oh, I could almost say square one. Many times when I do a set of plans and something changes even during the plan stage and design stage, let alone, I'm doing a project right now, and I've been doing it in Kingsford Heights, And you go down there, it's like gangbusters. Those plants were done in World War II. And that has grown up, and fields and the sanitary sewers are still there. They are really cool. The sanitary sewers are actually bricks laid in for the pipes, actually poured in concrete back in the 40s. They are as clean as a whistle. They work well, but now we have to go back. The developer has to go back, check all the sanitary sewers, install new water lines. So I want to say that we're back at square one. We're almost back at square one. Somebody is going to go back out. Some engineer, and it's not me, I have no dog in this fight, is going to go back and make sure these plans are right and buildable. And it's going to cost, I bet you, $100,000 minimum, maybe $2,000, because Michigan City stopped the project
You're
5, 6,
talking
7
about
years
Long
ago.
Beach, isn't it?
Long Beach. They stopped that project. They didn't understand what that cost was, and they even a standard rate of inflation. But now with gas at what, $5 a gallon here? Do you think they're going to get that done for 12 or 13 million? Not a prayer. And this is all I predict. And for predictions, like it seems like I'm a prediction every show. I predict this thing doesn't stop, but I bet you it's stalled out for a period of time when Michigan City has to go back and realize their bonding authority for now 20 million. And I would guarantee you everyone will vote for it. The sanitary district will vote for it. The council will vote for it. And they won't say a word that they just lost another $5, $7, $10 million by stopping Long Beach, which I am not a fan of Long Beach, but they needed that sewer. They were polluting Lake Michigan. Their septic systems were going into Lake Michigan. And a certain number of people stopped it, and it's really funny, and this is politics, you have both seen this, how politics changes in a few years with the same players. Interesting.
The only thing I want to do is draw a picture of a starting point and a completion date, and have a project, regardless of where it came from. Whether it was the ditches on the west side of town, or the sanitary sewers on Long Beach, or providing necessary goods and services to the taxpayers of Michigan City. Once you start a project, you complete the project. And here is an example of what I just dug up, that the cost estimate back then when I draw this up was $13 million. And you had...
and that's why you start and finish a project. So you capture the costs.
Correct. And the bottom
Maybe
line...
you're just perfect in Michigan City. Because they started your ditch project and they dug a little bit out, and in 7 years maybe they'll do some more.
Yeah. But the taxpayers who reside in the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th ward are being taxed on a daily basis to clean out ditches. They are being taxed for this services that is supposed to be provided by the Michigan City Sanitary District, and the Sanitary District over the last 20 years didn't do a damn thing. I'm just saying, one issue over another issue over another issue under this umbrella of the city of Michigan City, nothing ever gets accomplished. We did accomplish through Mike Nolan with the dual track system and NICTE. We did accomplish 11th and Franklin Street. But how long will that last? How long will that project last? Until maybe low to moderate income apartments will become available to certain residents of Michigan City because they can't fill the complex.
We accomplished Franklin Street.
We
finally got that back open and working and hustling and bustling.
Which one was
Franklin Street?
Yeah.
We accomplished that. Kudos. And kudos to the mayor. She made it two-way. I'm very proud of that. That should have been a no-brainer.
You're talking about the downtown
Franklin,
art district?
That was closed down.
How many
shut
changes?
down
I think it changed 3 or 4 times.
Well, and also, if you go farther, 421, down 421.
Yeah, you accomplished that.
Well, not only that, now we've got a couple of entities. For a while, we had an empty building there. that was for Red Lobster when apparently they lost the franchise.
Yeah,
and the franchise
bankrupt.
wasn't interested in coming back.
Oh, Red
but as
Lobster.
I understand it, we're now going to have another car wash in there.
Another car wash.
Crew car wash. And you're going to get a drive-in shine at the old Hojo's. How many people remember the old Hojo's?
Yeah.
By Burger King. I understand that's a drive-in shine, but yeah, you guys accomplished that. The airport went to a municipal airport at Joe Phillips, and that whole area exploded in development. And I think you're going to work your way south of 94, but
And we mentioned this one before, but the old the Fifth Third Bank at the north end of Franklin Street is being restored, as I
yeah.
understand it now, by Santerre Bank. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was hoping that would be City Hall. I thought that, and they all said it was too small, but I thought that was a good move. And we
Well,
used the
anything
City
we
Hall
can keep on
property.
the tax rolls without going to a city hall, I'm all for.
Well, I was going to take the City Hall and make some money off it, and I still hope we do a hotel there, but I don't see that coming.
So this goes back to Bob's original concept of individuals participating in the election.
Yeah.
And who you elect to these various offices definitely has some input into completing a project until they get caught up in the word salad of the existing boards in the city of Michigan City who want to maintain it the old way and don't want to change and don't want to take a new attitude.
See, I don't understand Lakeshore Drive in any sense. I thought that was a good deal
Yeah,
from every standpoint.
I did
And I
too.
don't understand why the council voted no back when it did, because they weren't their voters. And now they're changing their mind a year before a city election. I'm sure this is going to come up, and there are some Long Beach people who don't want this sewer line down Lakeshore Drive. But they vote for their town board. They don't vote for Michigan City Council people. They have no dog in the fight. And now Michigan City's changing their mind and going to put the sewer line in a year or less than a year out from Michigan City elections. I guarantee you there's going to be some people primaried because they should have done this 6 years ago.
I've talked to individuals in Long Beach in my occasional travels throughout the area, and they're on limited income, and they couldn't afford outrageous sewer
Yeah, you bring up a
rates.
good point, because if the bond, no matter who's it through, the bond is paid by the ratepayers.
Right,
I think they can.
over a
that's-
period of years.
I think that's a separate charge they could add onto the bill.
Yeah.
They have to pay that. Typically, in the county, in most counties, a sewer line extension would be anywhere from $70 to $150 a month. And I don't know what the sewer bill in Michigan City is, nowhere near that, right?
No,
So
nowhere.
these people are going to pay what, $150, $200 a month, and that's why this town, Long Beach people are not happy about it, because they will have McMansions and people with a lot of money who don't care about $200 or $300 a month, but they can't afford that, and then their property value goes up, and then their property tax payment. That's the impetus of a sewer line. But again, I don't know why Michigan City put up the barriers against it in the council when they did. They weren't their voters. No one from Long Beach was going to be able to support or not support the council in any way. They could not have voted for them in any way. They don't live in Michigan City. And now we're going to reopen this up and put the sewer line in. What changed? And I don't understand, as a politician, ex-politicians, why you would open this back up a year before a primary. Doesn't seem wise to me, but here we go. I think it's a good deal. I think
Well,
the project's a good deal.
I'm going to change the subject a little bit.
But before you, don't change it too much, I got a comment.
Well, this kind of jives into
Oh,
what you're
okay.
talking about. Right now, what we ought to be looking at is, and Tony used the term annexation. Annexation only applies if you're not in a legitimate town or city. Merger is the term that we need to
Oh, yeah.
start looking at.
100%.
But I would start with Potawatomi
Yeah.
Park.
Which
and-
was there for the grabs during the Mears
Yeah, they
administration.
offered it.
They offered
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Michigan City is going to have to start to go through merger situations. First of all, or if we go south, annexation. Because basically we don't have the land available for the types of housing that a lot of people want, which is single family housing, nice big lot, so on and so forth. We just don't have a lot of that. And so if we go through mergers, starting with Potawatomi Park, there is land available in Potawatomi Park, plus it's very close to the Potawatomi Country Club for people who belong, makes it very easy to get there. And I would hope that we would take a look at that first. After that, then we should be probably talking to Long Beach, giving them some way to maintain what they now have as a town center, a history of the town, so on and so forth, and letting them be like they do in some places in Chicago. When they merge, they still let them have their own little community. We should let them do that.
They already get our water from us.
Yeah. So as a result of that, I think that's going to be the program over the next 10 years. There's no other way to go. But on the west side, we need to start looking at putting in storm sewers and possibly new sanitary sewers and water lines to where the majority of the population lives. So we're talking there about Village Green, Southgate, and that area, which does have water problems, and we need to get those taken care of. But the west side, if you go all the way to the county line or all the way to the Michigan City line, whichever one you want to choose, we're going to have to do this in increments. But it should be the most populous areas first. And maybe then we could do away with all of the ditch cleanings, just fill in the ditches because we don't need them anymore. With a sewer line.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Bob. You talk about mergers. I was talking about acquisition, okay, through annexation. There comes a time when the tax base of Michigan City has to increase. And when you have an entity within the city of adjacent to the city of Michigan City that has an extremely stable tax base, if they want what the city can provide, you pay for it, people. That's all. And everybody will benefit. The people in Long Beach will benefit. The people on the west side will benefit. The people south of town. A enhanced tax base. I agree with the Potawatomi Park. That also includes the town of Trail Creek. The town of Trail Creek is already beneficiaries of the effort put forth by the Michigan City Sanitary District and its current board of directors. Come on, people. There's only so much in Michigan City that we can squeeze out of that sponge, and all of the, what's the word, saprophytes, all of these saprophytes that surround Michigan City are sucking out the value of Michigan City for their own personal gain so that they don't have to pay city taxes. Come on, people, let's wake up.
Years ago, the city taxes, civil city taxes were an argument. They're not much of an argument anymore.
No, they're not.
Time out. That goes back before we had a United School Corporation. Because before we had a United School Corporation, now this is my day and age, the city of Michigan City had its own school system. The townships had to provide for their own school systems or pay a fee to send them to Michigan City. If you lived in Michigan City, and I was a kid, one of the best things that ever happened to me, you didn't get a school bus. I don't care where you lived in Michigan City, you walked or your parents brought you.
Oh, yeah.
And that was back in the days of one car. Dad drove the car to work. The kids walked to school.
We walked to school in the 80s.
Yeah, period, end of sentence. Now that you've got the United School Corporation, remember these outlying areas like Trail Creek, Long Beach, they still pay for all of the school taxes. They didn't do that back in that day and age, but now they do. They not only pay for those that live in Michigan Township, they pay the township tax just like we do. They pay the library fee just like we do. The only difference is the civil city, and right now the big things on that are the police and the fire department, and we have mutual agreements between the various fire departments to come to each other's aid. The only problem is Michigan City is probably the only one that can fight a chemical fire, because there you have to use foam, and I don't think most of the volunteer fire departments are taught to use foam, so that is somewhat of a problem. But it's not near the necessity that it was, say, 75 years ago. Yeah, that would put me in the right age group.
Well, annexation or mergers. Mostly mergers.
Yeah.
The Potawatomi Park they wouldn't have enough people to pay the amount of money, the services they need. There'd be a net negative on Michigan City. But they don't calculate the fact that when you put sewers in the rest of Potawatomi Park, you're going to get bigger, more houses, more bedrooms, and their tax base is going to go up. And we had Mike Schultz on here before many times, that the part of your tax revenue from your homes and your houses is there's a growth factor. And if Michigan City gets Potawatomi Park or Trail Creek, your growth factor grows and you get that quotient of money from the state, which we don't get. So if you're not growing, you're missing out on part of your tax revenue. So I think that's the missed in the equation, because Potawatomi Park was a willing participant. And we had to calculate, if we add sewer and water to Potawatomi Park, those homes are probably going to grow with more bedrooms and more people and more tax revenue. And that's where you get the bulk of your money, is in the growth. And
Is
we're not doing it.
Potawatomi Park located in the 6th Ward?
No, I think most of it's in the 5th ward.
I think Fifth Ward.
Yeah.
But in the 6th Ward, we have that influx of revenue from the Phoenix project that you
No
talked
longer
about.
the Phoenix project.
It's the Google project.
Google project.
When you start
So, I mean,
saying,
when you look at the overall puzzle parts,
Well, the Sixth Ward has land,
yes,
just like the West Side has open land.
we got to start thinking about, and here's where I was going to talk about the Plan Commission, how much of this goes for industrial and how much of this goes for family housing. I'm kind of the opinion, and I just use this as a generality, that north of 12, we want to start looking at that area from at least Moore Road going to the Michigan line as being single family
Oh, yeah.
or family type housing.
Oh, yeah.
Back from that, we've got a number of major industrial situations that were put up years ago. I think we need to go through and find out. I don't want to move those industrial situations, but we need to go through where old industry has been torn down, like Josam, which basically was a brass foundry. God knows what's underneath the ground there. Where the coal tender that we used to put coal into steam engines when railroads ran with steam engines rather than diesel, that just got torn down. Gosh knows what's under the ground there. We got to have the Planning Commission start looking at, and they're probably going to have to hire engineers to do this, soil borings, but not only soil borings that go down maybe 2 or 3 feet, soil borings that go down a lot deeper, and let's find out what's underneath the ground on those locations.
Yeah, because those locations, I agree, residential. But if you find out there's contaminations, there's different levels of contamination, you might not be able to put residential in there, but you still would be able to put some commercial, which is fine, as you cap it. It's still good use of the ground. We're not talking heavy industrial with different kinds of chemicals. We're talking about some commercial use. Honestly, we're talking about fixing robots and robotic cars. And that day is coming.
Yeah, my concept, as I said in numerous shows in the past, is to take a new attitude and build a better Michigan City. The resources are here. It's just when you go to elect individuals, you elect individuals. What do they stand for? Do they stand for status quo? Everything is fine and hunky-dory? Or do they want to see Michigan City accomplish bigger and better things? Elections are important, people. This guy and me, we served our country for you individuals to have the right to vote. Take advantage of that opportunity because it's there for the taking. If you want it, but if you want it, you can get it, but to get it, you gotta want it. And if you don't vote, it appears to me as if you could care less what happens here in Michigan City.
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at people who want to get elected to office. What are their solutions? I don't want to hear the same apple pie and baseball and whatever's going on. I want to hear plans, solutions, and I want to know when you're going to get those done. If you're asking the candidate, what are your plans? What are your solutions, and how long is it going to take you to get those done? Like, hey, my priority, which should be the West Side candidate, I'm going to get a storm sewer in here, and we're going to get this land ready to build, whatever it is. And maybe even if they're really gifted, they have a little map, and they say, I think I'm going to put commercial here, I'm going to put some recreational here, some residential here, and that's what I'm running on. That's my platform. And the voters need to ask for that, and they need to vote for that.
And maybe there, we're talking about educational system, Michigan City High School. Maybe should be a course in Michigan City High School how to identify potential problems and how to resolve those potential problems through influence. Never mistake the power of influence. One individual can get something accomplished if they're firm in their convictions and they really feel confident in what they're talking about. And this one does.
Well, school board, maybe if one of those candidates came out and I vote in that school, in a school board in Cool Spring Township, if they said, my one campaign issue is I'm going to get the teachers a 20-30% raise, and I'm going to do it in 2 years. They'd have my vote, because that is a one-issue campaign in my mind. The teachers need to get paid. I just saw a newsreel today that Indianapolis is struggling, I think, a loss of 4,000 teachers, and these are teachers that have been there 10 or 20 years, are quitting because they don't have the pay, and they refuse to raise their pay, and they spend it on whatever else instead of the teachers. So if a school board comes up this summer, there's my one issue. I'm going to get the teachers a pay raise of whatever, 10 or 20% in the next 2 years.
If you study the law and you study what the TIF district funds are to be utilized for, Indiana law basically says that right now 10% of the revenue derived from an existing TIF district goes for education. And before it was 15, but now it's the school city. I mean the civil city and the school city now. Civil city gets 10%. Civil city gets 5%, and a school city gets 10%. But revenue derived from the TIF district specifically goes for the school city that I brought up. What? 5-6 years ago, and nobody really cares.
Well, a candidate could say, I'm going to get a 10% raise to the city, to teachers, and I'm going to use the money from the TIF.
And it's
That's
there.
what they could say.
It's law.
Because somebody's going to say, well, how are you going to get the money if we don't have the money? It's easy. I'm going to get it from the TIF. I'm gonna
2
force
years,
that.
3 years from now, we're going to have the money.
Well, when
Give me time a little bit. We're going to have the money. This data center is going to put so much money into the civil city of Michigan City and the United School Corporation that with on top of losing students, we're going to have a lot of money. What we need to know from the school board candidates is how are you going to spend that money? What are you looking at? Now, Tony's looking at teacher salaries. I'm looking at a few other things. Teacher salaries are certainly going to be very important. I'm also looking at some debt repayments. The last time I looked, we were close to $90 million in debt in that school corporation.
Yes.
That's got to come down.
Yes.
I think we should be no more than 50 million based on the number of students we have. The 90 million was incurred a long time ago when we had a lot more students and thought we were going to have a lot more, which did not pan out and went the other way. And we can talk about that if we ever get into that debate. But we also need to talk about academically, how are we going to raise the standard? And the money that comes in ought to be primarily used, teachers' pay would be a part of this, to raise the academic standards of this school system. And when people graduate, they graduate with a 12th grade ability to read and a 12th grade ability to do math. That has to be the goal, but it has to start, and we'll talk about this in some other sessions, at the 3rd grade level. They have to be able to read at the 3rd grade level in order to be able to learn the rest of the way through the school system. And that's got to be a starting point.
Here is Baker Tilly brought this to the City Council, their yearly report.
That's a sad joke. That's a sad chart.
It says here, TIF area total revenues now belong to all taxing districts.
After what year? 25 years. Not going to happen.
After 25 years.
That's a sad chart because they say, the law says after 25 years, all this money that we're spending in TIF to grow and make our community better should stop and go to the school, the police, and the fire. That's not going to happen.
And we currently have 5 or 6 established TIF districts that will not expire until 2048.
Well, they don't expire because of the bonded debt. That's the problem. You got to pay that debt.
Yes,
Yeah,
you do.
but the debt ends at 2048.
But 10% of that revenue, of that bonding debt, of that excess revenue from over and above that bonding debt goes to the schools, and the redevelopment commission, according to, I forgot his name because I can't remember.
You got to do some calculations. Are you sure
They just kicked the can down the road. That's not right.
10% after they pay the bonded debt?
No,
No,
I shouldn't be so pessimistic, but that is a sad, sad chart.
that's sad.
But we all thought you'd never see NIPSCO go away. We all thought you'd never see the prison go away. So maybe someday that chart won't be so sad.
And we'll be living in what, teepees?
I don't think in my life or in my kids' life that redevelopment commission will ever, ever, ever stop. No matter how much money they get, no how much money they spend, no matter how much development they do, it will never end. But it ended in California. We possibly might not have the prison. We possibly might not have NIPSCO, so there is hope. There's always hope.
I'm not so sure, but I'm sure of this. It probably will end, but it's going to be replaced by another entity. I just don't know what that is.
California did replace it with a different entity, but
They're still in debt in California, aren't they?
yeah, they're
Huge.
swimming in debt. And we can just be happy they're not as bad as Germany, because Germany's in even bigger trouble. But, Michigan, this is summertime. Get out and vote. Please check your candidates. Summer's coming. It's here. There are many, many things to do. We have the beautiful beach. Please enjoy it.
Not only do we have the beautiful beach, we generally have beautiful weather. Enjoy the weather even if you don't go to the beach. But if you go to the beach, make sure you understand the situations with rip currents and how you handle those rip currents if you get in that water. Because that beach can be dangerous. Now, we luckily, I don't think, had anyone drown this past year. That was for Michigan City, something of a...
Because we paid our lifeguards.
Yes. And we need more than one lifeguard station. We also need a lifeguard station at Stop 2, which is another Michigan City beach. So it should be where we've got the first one on the real beach down there that's been there since the Depression, but also at Stop 2 in that particular beach.
I pitched the solution to stop rip current. If the city wants to ask me or look on the internet, there is a solution to stop rip currents on our beach. It's not too expensive. They float these walls of buoys, and the rip currents are stopped, and we could make sure no one drowns. And even better, we could have a beautiful area to swim in right off our beach. But we don't seem to be able to understand that either.
Would that be the Coast Guard's responsibility?
Oh, I'm sure they would let us do it, just like they let
I
Whiting
don't think
put
we've got a Coast Guard anymore. They've done.
Oh yeah, we let Whiting put a splash park out in the lake. We would have to permit it, but I guarantee you they would let us. And boy, Michigan City would be on the leading edge. And wouldn't it be nice to have the ability to have a great place to swim? Because when even without rip currents, when those waves are rolling, it's not that fun to be in the lake. And usually it's pretty cold, so you're running cold water on you. So, boy,
now I got to disagree with Tony, because when I talk to my kids, they always told me, "No, we never do that." 30 years later, oh yeah, we did that. This is one of the things that's a problem, is when those waves are coming in like that, it is fun, if you can swim, to dive right into it.
oh yeah, dangerous.
It
That's
is
fun.
very dangerous, but
Done
it's
that.
fun. And unfortunately, people get hurt as a result of it.
We could solve it. The solution's out there, folks.
But when you say it's not fun to be down, oh yeah, it is.
Well, as when you're out there for leisure as an adult, you don't like the waves crashing into you.
Yes.
The kids like it.
Oh yeah.
But it's beautiful. The beaches, the sandy bottom. It's an amazing beach. I'm so happy Michigan City protected theirs. I still remember New Buffalo when they wiped out all their beaches. It was very sad. I remember those days.
Yeah.
And we protected ours. So good for Michigan City. Again, we have a vote Tuesday. If you watch us on Saturday or Monday, if you watch on Monday, please get out and make an informed vote.
If I get a chance, not now, next week or the week after, I want to talk about some statistics, because Northwest Indiana is doing a lot better than they were 25, 30, 50 years ago. I dug out some statistics on it, plus the latest non-farm payroll rolls. looks like the economy is doing extremely well. We created 178,000 throughout the United States. Non-farm jobs were added to our economy. The unemployment rate went down to 4.3%. And part of that is being reflected in Northwest Indiana. But I'll talk about that. I dug out some statistics.
We only got a few minutes left.
2 minutes left?
A few.
Well, I'll take, again, my 2 minute and 55 seconds. Tony, you got anything to say?
No.
Bob, you got anything
Take
to
your
close?
time.
Only enjoy Michigan City. Get out there and take advantage when we start to have the really nice weather and shop downtown. Now, one more thing. We got to have these two guys start talking to LaPorte.
Don't go
Because-
downtown LaPorte, what a wreck.
Because LaPorte is not holding up their share of what they should be contributing to the county funds. And that's because they got so many undervalued properties because they're falling apart. When are you guys going to get on LaPorte instead of
LaPorte
just
City
beating up
traffic
Michigan
is-
City?
All right, and
It's a
Tony's
mess.
anxious with that last minute, and I want to conclude here. Well, it's darn good nice, and it's kind of funny how the Lord made the bee, and the bee made the honey, and the honeybee is looking for a home, and they call it Michigan City.
Yeah.
The value that is out there can be capitalized on that little honeybee if you just listen to what he has to say. Again, take a new attitude, ladies and gentlemen, honest, take a new attitude, especially during these election times. I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvement of the criticism of this show is greatly appreciated. Please contact Show's Try co-producer Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at enailagm@yahoo.com. Or it's dry in here, Tony. Or you may address your any ideas for our future shows to our one and only staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Maybe she's that little bee that's flying around, spreading the wealth that's out there that nobody recognizes that's out there.
And if you use Gmail, you will be using a Google business, which will be part of Michigan City.
Right. And the showing of our program will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m., also Monday and Thursday evening at 7 p.m. on Channel 99. I also get up in the morning and occasionally I see a rebroadcast of our program 7 o'clock early in the morning, so thank you, Tony. You may also enjoy watching our program on YouTube at 99 Navigate News and Views. I want to thank everybody for watching and make it a good day.